Welcome, Hector. Thank you very much for your time. For guys who listening and girls, of course, who don't know me, I'm Patrick. I'm the head director of communication and events at My First Bitcoin. And I'm here today with my guest, Hector. And I would leave the introduction to yourself.
Thanks, Patrick. I appreciate you having me on and having this chat. I'm Hector. I've been in Bitcoin for about 10 years. And along the way, I decided I wanted to dedicate my efforts to trying to grow the space and bring my skills and experience to Bitcoin, which is primarily in education. And that's what led me to getting connected with My First Bitcoin a handful of years ago and working on various curriculum projects, education projects. Also, I work for Rhino Bitcoin, which is a Bitcoin-only financial services app in the United States.
It's cool. So you did a pretty amazing pitch there. So because you're around everything that My First Bitcoin does for quite a while, from your point of view, can you summarize what My First Bitcoin is doing?
Yeah. So from my perspective, My First Bitcoin's mission is to bring free and open source Bitcoin education to the world as a way to empower people to be able to make the most of their lives by understanding and using the best money that's ever been discovered by humanity. So our goal is to help people understand why Bitcoin matters, how it can help them improve their lives, and how it can help them impact their world and their families in a better way.
Yeah. And sorry to maybe catch you a little bit off guard, but I saw you really giving a good pitch here. I originally planned to do it myself, but I just decided to maybe ask you for that because you are pretty good at that. I would enhance it with 2 or 3 more facts about My First Bitcoin. One is, meanwhile, we are in 46 countries, if I'm not mistaken. We are heading towards now 45 languages that we provide teaching material in, and we're close to hitting the 90 communities benchmark. So in the last video I did, we were at 80 communities. Now we're heading towards 90 communities across the globe, which is pretty amazing from my point of view.
Yeah, the growth has been incredible to watch over the last few years. It really is a testament to the organization, the leadership, all of the individuals around the world who understand the value of teaching their local communities about why Bitcoin matters. And it's just been a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah. And today we met because in the last board meeting, they came up with a pretty amazing idea. So you're working with Rhino, and we thought there could be a collaboration between Rhino and My First Bitcoin. So we will discover that collaboration and how we work together in the next minutes to make people follow our train of thought. Could you start with explaining, like, what does Rhino actually do for Bitcoiners?
Yeah, so what we do is we make it very easy and efficient for them to acquire real Bitcoin and also to use that Bitcoin. So whether it's buying it so that they can hold it, or whether it's sending it to pay for things using the Lightning Network, or whether it's sending money back home via global remittances or borrowing against their Bitcoin, we make it easy for them to use Bitcoin in the way that they think is best suited for them in one place. We provide on and off ramps for our clients, whether it be ACH or wire transfers, any manner of ways to get fiat money onto the platform, turn it into better money, and then use that better money to improve their lives.
Amazing. So maybe you can explain a little bit how the idea of a collaboration arose.
Yeah, so I was honored to be nominated to the board about a year ago. And along the way, also a gentleman by the name of Daniel Prince, who many folks watching this video will know as the host of the Once Bitten podcast. And we were talking about the idea of how do we create easy ways for people to be able to contribute to the organization if they believe in My First Bitcoin's mission. And as with everything, the less friction there is, the easier it is for people to do a thing. So Daniel suggested, what if there would be a way that Rhino user who hears about My First Bitcoin would be able to easily send some sats to the organization to show their support and to help further the mission. And we said, hey, I think that's a great idea, and spoke with our product team, our engineering team, and we worked on that for a bit and set up a very easy donation rail. So now any Rhino user can go right into the app, tap a couple of buttons, send sats directly to My First Bitcoin, and contribute and support the organization's mission.
Which is a very beautiful implementation, I would say. I can share the screen recording that we did to actually show the app and what kind of clicks you need to do. Maybe you can moderate a little bit along with the video.
Yeah, so here you are on the home screen. You scroll down, you tap on the donate to My First Bitcoin button. It brings you to the screen. You tap in the number of sats that you want to contribute. Then you go to the next screen. You confirm that that's what you want to do. You tap send, and the money goes directly to the My First Bitcoin Lightning wallet in a couple of seconds. So again, the goal was to make it as fast and easy and frictionless as possible so that users could engage with an organization that they trust.
Amazing.
You don't need an invoice, even if you're a brand new user. Maybe you don't even fully understand exactly how Lightning works. But as long as you have Bitcoin in your wallet, you can donate whatever portion of it, send it straight to My First Bitcoin.
Awesome. And maybe bring it back a little bit. Can you give an idea, like how long do you actually already are in touch and operationally work with My First Bitcoin in the last years?
Yeah, sure. I was very lucky. I met John Dennehy, the founder of the organization, a few years ago, actually at one of the Bitcoin conferences in Miami. And we were just talking about ways where I might be able to contribute some of my background and experience to the organization because I'm a big believer in education. Every Bitcoiner is by default an educator because nobody really knows or understands Bitcoin. So it's our job to educate the world. And I really believed in what the organization was doing and how it was approaching its mission. Initially, there was need for standardization for a teacher onboarding and training program. So I helped a group of individuals put a project team together to build that program. And then afterward, I worked on the core diploma program for a bit. Then another group of individuals decided, you know what, we really could use a curriculum that would speak more directly to organizations, right? Small and medium-sized business or even large organizations to understand how to incorporate Bitcoin within their businesses to strengthen those organizations. And so we came up with the Bitcoin for Business curriculum, which is another free open source curriculum that's available on the My First Bitcoin website. So really, it's like most folks who are in Bitcoin, you've done something before Bitcoin, you believe in Bitcoin's mission, and then you try to find ways to contribute what you know in order to help further Bitcoin. So for me, that was education, and My First Bitcoin was the perfect organization for me to help in that way. So I've been very lucky to participate in a few different ways over the years.
Yeah. And how long are you on the board now?
The board just for about a year, connected to the
Yeah.
organization a little over 3.
Okay, that's amazing. It's a very interesting, I would also argue, some sort of a blueprint for other organizations who would like to contribute and give something back. Because from my point of view is there are many people who are in Bitcoin quite early. They want to give something back. They want to do something to actually see the adoption happen. And I think it's very, very hard to determine where actually to funnel your money if you want to do that. And I think My First Bitcoin is a very good place and organization to actually see how your money is put to work. And what you suggested was also that we maybe talk about that to showcase it to other organizations who have like similar applications like you. And do you have any like further thoughts about that?
Yeah, maybe referencing something I mentioned a little earlier in our conversation. I think all of us who are in the space and who want to see Bitcoin grow and who want to see our loved ones in our communities benefit from having better money that protects their purchasing power, part of our job is education. Well, not everybody is necessarily an educator in the sense that they're going to stand up in front of a classroom and teach people about Bitcoin, or they're not going to maybe develop content in order to try to spread that message around the world, or they're not experts in online teaching and to develop appropriate pedagogy for individuals at different age levels. So if you want to help, but that's not necessarily your skill set, well, then you need to find an organization who is good at doing that and that you can also have confidence that contributing to them are going to reach those students in order to spread that education. And that's where My First Bitcoin is an organization that has a long track record of responsibly using the funds and efficiently and effectively using those funds in a way to impact the maximum number of learners all around the world. So to the second part of your question, which is what about other organizations? It's great that we were able to do this at Rhino, but there's absolutely no reason why we should be the only ones doing it. Certainly any Bitcoin only company that gives people on and off ramps or has the ability, in my opinion, should be thinking about making this available. And if you're not familiar with My First Bitcoin, I would say research My First Bitcoin a little bit, decide if you feel comfortable with the organization. Obviously, we did at Rhino, and I would encourage you to build your own rail. I think it would be great if other exchanges, apps, wallets, anybody who's in the Bitcoin ecosystem should be finding a way to spread the word, and supporting an organization like My First Bitcoin is a great way to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we launched our new website in June, right before our conference in Prague. So for all the people thinking about that when watching that video, let me share one thing, because transparency obviously is a very important thing of our work. And how do we actually show the impact of what we're doing? So we have mainly 2 tools. Of course, you can look at the website. One is the impact report where we publish the numbers. And the second thing is that this year we will film 4 documentaries that will be closer to the people, not to the numbers, that show actually the emotional impact of the work that we're doing. So where you will find more details about like if we receive money, where is the money actually going? We are at the support us page. This is where you should have a look at if you want to support us. And I want to show you one graphic that is very important. And this is that one. Every set that enters our organization, where is it actually going? This, of course, will be updated several times during the year, but you can also see here the full impact report. I just wanted to share that for people watching because it's very, very important for us to be transparent with the money flows.
It's a great point you make, Patrick. This is one of the reasons why I have confidence in the organization. I felt like Rhino could have confidence in connecting our users to My First Bitcoin is exactly because My First Bitcoin has the same ethos as does Bitcoin itself, which is transparency, which is anybody can participate and you can know at every single moment exactly what your contribution has accomplished. So you don't have to trust, you can verify, just like Bitcoin. And one other quick note I'll make to what I said before is if you are a founder or a wallet dev or a leader in an organization, and you are wondering how we at Rhino put this together, want any information, help, support, assistance, please reach out to me. I'm certainly happy to share more information, more details, answer questions, help with recommendations on, hey, here's how we handle the implementation. Anything that can make it easy for you. If you feel like you also want to do what we did, we're happy to make it as easy for you as possible.
That's amazing. And again, thank you very much for your help. I think it's a brilliant implementation. One question I would be very interested in, because obviously it's a huge part of our work and of our core messaging. So why do you think education in particular is such a good way to funnel your money, funnel your energy? Why does it make such a big difference? And everyone has like a different perspective. I'm always very curious about the point of view towards education.
Well, when it comes to Bitcoin, the challenge is that the problem that Bitcoin is trying to solve, which is the problem of broken money. The challenge is because of the world that most of us have grown up with is we don't understand what the problem is. And if you don't understand the problem, then the solution doesn't matter. So to just tell somebody buy Bitcoin, even if maybe somebody does it because they trust you or they know you, they're your family member or your friend, I mean, that's all well and good. But what's going to happen is at some point down the road, that person, because they don't understand the problem that they're solving and why Bitcoin solves that problem, chances are they're not going to understand the things that happen in Bitcoin. They're not going to understand the volatility. They're not going to understand that price and value are not the same thing. All of these things that maybe we can take for granted as Bitcoiners, as we get further along into our understanding, we tend to forget how much we didn't know when we first started. Or I'll just speak for myself, how much I didn't know when I first got started. So it's important to provide that education as a foundation, because that is the way that the individual is going to have the conviction necessary, not only to fully benefit from Bitcoin, but then to also spread the word themselves. So you have to start with education if it's going to last in the mind of the individual, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. And today I rewatched all the material I recorded with John in Prague interview about like the role of education, what we do. I think it's very important what you just said. And as weird as it sounds for many people, like you need to understand the problem first is crucial. And the knowledge is not as widespread as we might think to really understand like how our financial system works today. And the most important part, the most important question is who funds the education that we see today in the world? And the people who fund the education have a good interest in not explaining you certain things. So this is why we call ourselves to create impartial education. This is why it's also very important for us to have grassroots donation, that we don't depend on any government. We never have taken a single dime from a government. And this is why we are so thankful for implementations like you do, Hector. This is the way it enables us to be impartial, to not be influenced by anyone, to stay grassroots and to act in the interest of the community. And this is where we try to get the funding. This is a pretty good wrap up. I thank you very much for your time. Do you want to add anything?
No, other than just to say it's been a wonderful collaboration for this latest effort that we put together. We were happy to be able to be first, but really, to me, that is not necessarily success, right? To me, success would be not if we were first, but if we were the first of many. So I encourage other organizations to look into what My First Bitcoin does, to look at the impact that they're having, to reach out to me if you have questions about what we did. To me, success would be every Bitcoin only organization and company would in some way find a way to support Bitcoin education and at least consider My First Bitcoin as one of the organizations that can help them do that.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Hector, for your time.
You're welcome, Patrick. Good talking to you.